Welcome to the Vegas Insider channel here on YouTube as we look ahead to this Sunday's F1 race in Monaco. And we've got a great guest on. It's Juan Pablo Montoya. He's been around the circuits for F1, for IndyCar, for NASCAR. He's raced everywhere in the world, and he's joining us now to talk about the F1 race coming up in Monaco. And Juan, let's begin with this past week's race in Spain. Max Verstappen, he ended up winning. He's the defending world champion. He's leading the driver's standings, but yet when you hear the radio, he's complaining about the car. Do you think Max is concerned with the car's reliability, or do you think he's venting with some frustration due to the pressure of being the defending champion on the F1 circuit?
I think a lot of the pressure comes that the Ferrari is a quicker car at the moment. You know, they should have won the race. Leclerc should have won the race by a mile. He made a mistake. He put the car on the grass. He went off into the gravel in turn 4. And by doing so, he put himself in a bad situation. And then he starts getting angry with the team. And yes, they had an issue with the DRS. But after he had the issue, they went on the radio and they told him, hey, you need to be careful because you're pressing the button twice, so you're closing it yourself. So be careful with that. And the team did a good job changing the strategy on him. And after that, he executed well. They were not racing the Ferraris anymore, so it was a different race.
Now, when you look at Verstappen's teammate, when you see Sergio Perez, he did finish second for Red Bull, but probably not happy he didn't get the win. What do you think about the team's orders of Verstappen finishing first ahead of Perez?
Honestly, I think even without team orders, they should have won the race. Max was going to beat him. If they were going head-to-head race at the end of the race, for sure they would have won it because he had a lot fresher tires. I think it was like 10 or 12 laps fresher tires, and that's enough to have enough pace to basically beat him in a hand-to-hand duel, let's call it. And I think the team was smart enough to tell Sergio, if he gets there, you're gonna have to let him by. I think where Checo should have done better, which should have been a lot more aggressive on his previous runs and have more pace. Because I think he would have had enough pace that if Max wouldn't gone there, then then it's a lot harder for them to take the win away.
Now, you mentioned Charles Leclerc, and he was leading. He was looking good until what happened with the Ferrari, that it lost the power. Now, he's going to his home in Monaco coming up on Sunday, Juan. Do you think that he'd have the Monaco curse coming up this weekend, or do you think that he could bounce back after what happened in Spain?
It really shouldn't be a curse. He's been pretty unlucky there. But, Ferrari's got a lot of pace. We'll see how good it is around Monaco. Because I think in the slow speed corners, you could say that the Red Bull looks a little better. So if I would say it's probably more of a Red Bull track than a Ferrari track. The Ferraris are normally better in the faster tracks, like medium speed corners, not really slow speed corners. So that's going to be interesting to see how well they'll work on the really soft tires. It's going to be really interesting. But if I would say who's going to be better there, I would guess that probably Max will be better than Charles there, especially in the race. Maybe on a one lap, it's the Red Bull can put a lap together, the Ferrari can put a lap together, but on the race, my money would be at Max to win it.
Now, looking over, Juan, at Lewis Hamilton, he had some overheating issues. He could have finished fourth. He ends up finishing fifth. We know Mercedes could have improved a bit, but what do you think they can do to catch up to Red Bull and Ferrari this season?
I think this is the first step. They're behind about 4 races. I think this is the first race for Mercedes where they go, okay, we have a baseline. We can work from here. We have, we have enough speed now to get the job done. You know what I mean? We got rid of the purposing in the car. It's not bouncing anymore down the straights. We can run the car where it needs to be run. Now, what do we need to do to improve it? And so that's why I feel like they're like 3 or 4 races behind, because all the development they're done is to get rid of the purposing. Now that the purposing is gone, it's going to be very interesting to see how quick that car becomes and how fast they can get upgrades. Because you got to remember, they fixed this and they probably have on the pipeline 2 or 3 more upgrades coming, and they were probably waiting for this to see how it worked on the track. And as soon as they saw probably progress on this, they said, okay, next upgrade. And I think Monaco is not that crucial with upgrades and downforce. Yeah, downforce is important and everything, but it could be a good track for Mercedes. But the amazing thing is in qualifying they didn't look that strong, but in race pace they look amazing. So I think the Mercedes are coming whether you like it or not.
Anything, one in particular that about Mercedes that stood out to you, perhaps about their speed coming around the corner? They look really impressive and could be a major asset coming up in Monaco.
Now Monaco is difficult because qualifying in Monaco is everything. And if you're sitting behind somebody, you're just sitting behind them. And unless you do something with strategy and everything, it's very difficult. And the way F1 is at the moment that you don't refuel, every lap the car gets quicker. So you get quicker, then you make a stop, and the undercut is normally the biggest thing, unless you go a lot longer and play a different game. But track position is everything. So if you can come out of them, even if you're a second slower, you're going to beat them.
Well, there's been a lot of talks about the Monaco Grand Prix being discontinued in the future, but also drivers love to drive there, and for F1 fans, it's still pretty special. Do you see Monaco being taken out away from the calendar at some point?
No, I think Monaco has a lot of history. They're probably putting a lot of pressure on Monaco to put them at a level with every other race. For me, it's amazing. I live there, so for me to go there, I go there. You know, I mean, I travel a lot, but I'm home. You know, I go by the track every day, so it's always really cool. So it'd be a shock for F1 if Monaco out, but I'm sure they're putting pressure on them. But I'll be surprised if they. You know, I mean, they need to step up, I would think, more than anything else.
There's also been talks about F1 adding more street circuits as opposed to purpose-made tracks. And also Lewis Hamilton commented saying that street circuits are more accessible to the public and also brings in a bigger diversity in the audience. What's your opinion on the street circuits against the purpose-made tracks?
I think one of the big things, you look at Miami. Miami is a street course, and they did an amazing job. Vegas is coming up next year. So the cool thing with the street course is you can go to the right places and the right cities to do the event. You know what I mean? You're in Miami, you're in Vegas. I mean, they're talking about going through the strip and everything. It's so cool. Think about it. It's just insane. And I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool because it's places where people want to go. And it's not, you're not only going for the F1 race, but for the whole weekend experience. Like Miami's that. You know, you're going to Miami, great restaurants, the beach, the atmosphere, everything. And you add to all that from a one race. And as you saw, how many celebrities were there? Everybody wants to be there.
The Circuit de Catalunya has a 73% pole to first conversion, Juan, the most of current F1 tracks also, and second on the list is Singapore. Looking at the dimensions of today's cars, do you think the cars are outgrowing the circuits?
A little bit, but it's not. I mean, they're bigger. They used to be huge back in the day, so it's kind of relative. Remember the cars in the late 70s were so wide and so big, and the tracks were smaller. So, and they raced, and there was no drama. You know what I mean? Nowadays, people, they want to make drama for everything, personally speaking.
Juan, what advice would you give to the grid? You won back in Monaco in 2003. What advice would you give to the drivers today?
Do the laps. Practice is everything. You got to do the laps, and you really got to put it in the line in qualifying because track position is everything.
Finally, who do you see winning Monaco on Sunday?
My money's on Max. It'd be nice for Charles and for the F1 championship to get closer with a Ferrari win. But you got to say Red Bull is more complete as a team. They execute better. They do a better job with everything. You know what I mean?
Juan Pablo Montoya, race car driver. He has been around and he knows his way around the tracks. He is joining us to talk about the race coming up on Sunday, F1 in Monaco. Juan, thank you so much for the time. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you.